Hello, this is a Platinum 2 Sigma and Diva VOD review. The post on this mentions that they're a bit confused why they're losing. They feel they're doing pretty well in these games, and then it doesn't always work out, and they're wondering if they should be higher as well. And I think this VOD will really help you because you start out with a lot of the right ideas of what someone in Diamond would do, but then you end up shooting yourself in the face pretty repeatedly. This first area goes well, but after that, there are a lot of errors, even though it's pretty rare for someone to have the right idea, but then sort of have problems executing, which is what was happening a lot this game. So we'll point them out as they happen.
The barrier appears.
And you're doing good stuff, blocking everyone but the Sigma, holding this corner, chasing the Widow off. So far so good.
The universe does not leave.
But we're gonna see you're gonna get a little less disciplined as things go on. And you might as well give your team a barrier for that slam. But still doing well, holding the corner. Blocking the Widow follow-up. You were a little slow to bring the barrier down, and that grasp isn't really doing anything. I don't think they're going to capitalize, but that's just an early grasp. And in this barrier as well, something that's going to be a common problem is oh, sorry for that name. It's going to be your resource management. That barrier was not needed, and they're going to burn it down and break it. So they're getting openings now. Had you not used that barrier and just kept poking, and then as they get closer, then use the barrier, it's holding them off a lot better. But again, you've used your grass too, so they're starting to get an opening. The good formation you had at the start is starting to slip. And now Torbjorn's coming around, and it's getting dangerous because of the no grasp and barrier just coming back up.
The barrier cannot withstand much more.
Luckily, that Venture gets a pick, but that's just unlucky.
Barrier is near. The barrier has fallen.
But again, the barrier breaks before most of them even get close. And that's part on your Venture. You might not have even been able to save her, but just notice, no grasp, low shield. You backed up because I guess seeing you didn't have those things, you got nervous. So you started really disciplined, and then you used your grasp ability super early, your shield super early, and the defense sort of fell apart. Not all on you. Two people arguably got picked, but I just want you to. That's a common theme. And they've killed. That's 4 now. You should really die on the payload. Like there's no chance, 0 chance, big fat 0 to turn this around. Just die on the payload so it gets contested, because this 3 seconds is gonna matter as you try and get back to retake. So that's such a simple thing you can do to give yourself more time.
Actuating the barrier.
And it's gonna get frantic, but I just want you to know the what is it? Nano boost doesn't increase your Sigma ultimate damage. So you're really stacking 2 things that really can't be stacked.
Infinite universe.
And if it seems like I'm nitpicking, these are huge things. If you can hold them first point and make them have to fully reset, that's huge. So just with the ultimate, oftentimes if you try and split 2 people, you get neither. I know it makes so much sense, like if you see a blob of red to go for the center, but I just choose one. Probably the Baptiste, because he's more killable and you can get the lamp out early, but just choose one. you ended up getting nothing, which is pretty common if you go for splitting people that aren't like backing up or trapped in a corner. And you're glued to the payload, so you really can't go for anyone. But just that getting that Baptiste versus not getting that Baptiste is huge. And the fact that you layered ultimates that really don't go together, yours and the Ana's. So the Sigma started strong and then just through a bunch of errors, it didn't work out. But those small things there, you might not be recognizing them, but they're really shooting yourself in the foot again.
The barrier appeared.
And using full barrier here, you really can just poke. You don't want to get your barrier broken here.
The barrier has fallen.
The Venture wasn't going in yet. Imagine if you were poking, you had your barrier, now Venture goes in, and then you barrier and pressure them together. It's the resource management is a huge issue. The Venture still gets one, but it's a trade. Imagine if you were in there with the barrier, could have gone so much better.
The enemy is returned to life.
Another early eat after using the barrier a little early and getting it fully broken. I just want you to see that if you end up having to just completely back up, or if you die here, it's because you're playing these resource characters almost like Junker Queen, where you're trying to get as many actions per minute as possible. But I mean, if I was Torb and I saw you use Eat, I'd be running in your face right now. Right click, right click, right click. The Soldier too, you gotta get Lamp. It's just such a big difference if you had more barrier. Just wait for them to cross the corner and get close before you use your barrier. I just want you to really think about that. You don't have to cross the corner yourself and just go into an open lane and throw the barrier out. It's gonna break it instantly, especially against a Torb. So wait till they end up crossing into this zone. Like, here's a good barrier, they come out, but they window, so you gotta give this up. You gotta recognize they've like rocking into this, getting yourself stuck in the rock animation. It's real bad. I'm surprised you didn't take more damage. But you can even bounce. You can stand here and get a bounce on your primary fire into this Baptiste. You do not have to peek this window. Like, you have the right idea, like on the first point, you're holding the corner with Sigma, but you're just peeking a window with no resources. Like, as the Soldier gets ballsy and crosses the corner now, it would be great to have full barrier. He'll have no choice but after getting a few right or primary fires to run back. But he's able to.
The barrier's weakened.
That barrier again, you want to fight them so much you're going to use your last 100 barrier to peek the window again. It's just the right idea's there. You're holding the corner, but you can't help yourself. And that's what I'm talking about when you have the right idea, but you're not executing right. And yeah, you just didn't have any health or resources left. And giving up seconds huge. You could have really, against a Sigma so strong here, had you reset them, it could really have turned into a overtime push. But without the tank, your teammates are in a tough spot. And so much going on without you. But that's rough. You lose second. And when you get this ultimate, they got a ways to go. Burning your barrier there actually isn't terrible because they're going to be pushing that cart for like 10 more seconds. But once you get this ultimate, I want you to just focus on one person. Be that Bap, or if Torbjorn's still far forward, just decisively choose a single person and just go for them once they end up crossing into the open. And that barrier, it would be great to have more barrier when you go and use your ultimate. It was a little early again, but you end up kind of splitting the turn and this, and you were a little late. So he's going to get back. He's going to get to back up, and it's a little tough. You have, in your defense, there's a Sombra there. He probably should die, but... And this barrier, again, I just put it down. You just let it recharge, wait for a better spot to position. The May wall for the next 3 seconds is there. You might even want to pull it down and then, similar to the May wall, once this Torbjorn's ability wears off, put it here, like block his healing. Use it to block the healing and then rock and kill him. So there's so much more you can be doing if this barrier was just used better. That's really an early rock too. It wasn't going to get a limb. And then your barrier breaks, you use the grass before they even really start shooting you. You get kind of antsy, I bet, once your barrier broke, but... No grasp, no barrier. Even with Nano, I bet you're timid to do anything now because you don't have any resources. But if you did, really, you could be forward, you could be bullying them, at least try and trade a few kills so they end up, it ends up as a 3v5 once you all respawn. And none of that happens. You end up stuck in really no man's land, but without the resources and abilities, I understand why you don't want to go aggressive.
Actuating the enemy turret ahead. Barrier is nearly spent.
And I know some of your teammates died. I really would like a look back to see where everyone is. Okay, you've got your 2 supports, your DPS are both coming back. That's good to know. You would want to still play safe for about 5 seconds. And that's another barrier. You don't always have to... You can hold the corner yourself with your HP and your grasp if they really push you. But it helps to have barrier down, not just for recharging, but it's more flexible. If you've got the barrier down, you can react to things. Just imagine if you still had your barrier, you're poking them, you hear Soldier, oh, he's going for the flank play, and you put the barrier here. That does so much for your team. The Soldier's an easy limb. The Sombra and the Baptiste and the Ana just wreck him. And, yeah, like, you could see the plays there. You're holding the corner. If you just had the shield down, you could react to this. And you recognize he's the biggest threat to your team and go for him. So the idea's there, but it should be a barrier, not you running behind him with the grass. So it's just, you shot yourself in the foot again. But that's really all she wrote. But we'll go on Diva on attack. There's
I get it. Everyone's
definitely some
scared
good
to take on the best
things
player in the
here,
world.
but also a few really things that have to do with positioning and over pushing. And this map has some really open areas.
Your worth is a hypothesis.
So with Diva, you really have to be thinking. Sometimes you end up not full sending at everyone. You just want to grab some space. And I guess we'll break it down as you go after. So I like this, going up, taking the top. And you fly at them. Once they group up like this and give them all the healing, it's okay to just hold this area. You took them, you got them off the space threatening your team. You can just hold this area until your team catches up. So I like this. You just want to be careful not to overextend. And this flight, it's really risky. There's a lot of damage around. Yes, flying into them does... I should know this, Simon Masters. I think it's like 30 damage when you fly into them. But you really only want to use your movement ability for extra damage unless you really know you're going to get the elim and it's safe to do so. You're going to end up without your flight. Torbjorn's here, Soldier's here. Balls shooting you in the back. You're lucky you lived. This flight, using flight for 30 damage, really risky. and it can probably bite you in the butt on other games, I bet. Luckily, your supports really have you. But now you can go for them. And I want to see more of this later in the game. This play on Mercy is great. Great playmaking. And you're moving up, you're taking the space. Kiriko's used her abilities. This is a good chance to keep going and push. Okay, she's backed all the way up, but you have to recognize it's the right idea to be pushing up and taking space. Unfortunately, no one's on payload. But it's the right idea as tank to be up here, clogging the entryways for them to retake. You just want to make sure not to feed. So I like this. He's got a good angle on your team. Go shut him down. But this Torbjorn's going to become a major problem. Once you see him, just back out. And you can either go back to your team, you've delayed them, or try and help your Genji. But this Torbjorn's a no-go. You're not going to be able to really dive into him when he still has his ability that makes him shoot faster. And this right here, this is what I'm talking about. As long as you do things like this, it's real. Diamond's gonna be tough because you had all the information. You should know, even though the ball's not a big threat to you. Most of the time, that means you can go aggressive on everyone else because the ball can't peel. But in this case, there's a Torbjorn. You just gotta think more. You're not going to be able to get anyone. Even if you live, you're gonna end up with like 200 health, no matrix.
Initiating defense matrix.
So you've got no choice but to back out now. But I like this. You can, if you manage to back everyone else up, then the ball ends up being killable. This is a killable ball situation. So focusing him, pretty good. And right now you're thinking, you know what? I can get the payload over by ulting, and that'll make so much space. So I like the idea, but why not just stay here for a second and wait till the payload's actually 5 seconds away? Right now it's probably about 10 seconds away. And there's a ball behind you, which I heard, but we're just gonna look. Does this ultimate this early actually do anything? Well, I assume you meant to slide it on the stairs, but even if it slides on the stairs. Soldier has run. Torbjorn actually has a lot of armor. It's really the same thing, but now in the air, like right here, would be devastating. Maybe you thought you could get the elims if you did a better slide, but the same play here is good. And so the ultimate wasn't quite right. You had the right idea. You can give your teammates a matrix when they get slammed up, because if the soldier was on the ball, you can play defense against ball too. If you don't have a quick elim on your side, you can just play defense. We'll go to their soldier. If he was on the ball and not shooting the wrong target, he could have got it. You can matrix him directly too, but you were already looking back, so you could have given him a matrix. And so, again, right idea. You can try and make the Torbjorn and the pocketed soldier scared. But this, again, the Torbjorn... Let's go back. I want you to really think about this. How much of a threat is the Torbjorn to your team, really? If you put even a Master's DPS here on Torbjorn, and tell him, shoot the Genji, shoot the Baptiste, how much are you really going to get? Maybe 20% accuracy at best? He's not getting much value unless you jump in his face and give him value. Just imagine until he uses his fast shoot ability, he's like a man in a cactus suit. He's not really a threat. He's like slowly walking around, but then you're like a man in a cactus suit and you just flying tackle him and wreck yourself. This is. You also have the option, maybe if you want to chase the Kiriko around, because this setup of 3 people, D.Va can't break it by herself. And if you notice, the Genji goes for Kiriko too to try and get the healing stopped, because the Kiriko's the only one healing ball. But it's just not going to work. Even if you put a GM player in D.Va's shoes right now and say clutch up, what are you gonna do? No Matrix, you're shooting an overclocked Torbjorn. It's you just overheated. You had the right idea to block the ball's follow up, but then you flung yourself into a Torbjorn with your fly. So at this point, the fight's lost. It would be a miracle if your DPS would have to be carrying so hard to win now. And that soldier is letting you off easy by ulting. There was no way your team's had that. But I like this blowing up the Mercy again. Sometimes if you don't fling yourself into the Torbjorn and you take a more indirect route, you'll get openings on the Mercy or the Kiriko. So I really like that you've been able to do that twice on the Mercy. But it's every other fight you feed into the Torb, so you see how it's balanced out, like Diamond player getting picks on Mercy, Gold player feeding as D.Va. It balances out somewhere around Plat, I bet, or I suppose. And I want you to think, this ball is stalling the payload. I'm going to ask a question. Where can you stand to get an angle on the ball as he hides behind the payload and not put yourself in danger? And if you were thinking here, I'd agree with you. They're pretty far away. They're not contesting the payload. If you just go here, shoot the ball from a second angle, he'll burn down in about 3 seconds, and then you guys got the payload. Again, this Torbjorn, he'll be lucky to get a single shot on Baptiste or Reaper or Genji. So you don't have to be... If he was an Ashe, then you would be more concerned about DMing and getting in his face. But you have to recognize where the value... You don't want to give him value, just burn down this ball. The answer's pretty simple. Okay, and at least if had you done this before, this would have been better last fight. At least you're avoiding the Torb, you're avoiding sort of the fangs of the snake. If you imagine them as like a snake figure, you're avoiding the fangs and going tail first. You're kind of like undoing the Cobra. And I like that pick. You can back up, just DM. So you can make plays. It just takes you a few tries. And good, this is sort of the mirror image of what I recommended. But you got in a limb, you backed him up. Now you can just shoot this ball and easy sailing. So you had the right idea generally. Your dives were not on point until you adapted the third or so try. But good stuff. And again, you overheat. You're jumping in with 250 health. Oh no, I'm about to die. Use every single ounce of Matrix you have. And had you just waited 2 seconds for your Genji to climb up and your Reaper to come up, you could have helped them. And what happens here is they're reenacting the shootout at the OK Corral over here, having a giant brawl shootout, and you have to stand here, recharge your Matrix and your health. It's just you overheated again. You went in too soon.
I cannot heal you yet.
And it's kind of a miracle that they win without you.
Ah, you must like me.
But you were too far behind to save the Genji. That's a dumb play by him, but had you been with them the whole time, you easily could have prevented that. And that was the Reaper could have easily saved himself. That's just on him. But the Genji could have been saved. I just wanted you to see what happened when you lost all your health in Matrix and your team ended up fighting without you. And you lost so much momentum now. Instead of getting those picks and being able to take this area, now you end up having to go through the hard choke. And this, I hate this area's D.Va so much. There's really no room to maneuver. You're just getting slapped in the face by everything. So that is huge, not getting that map control of this area. Another thing where you had the right idea to push up and get the frags after the point, but you did it too soon. And so your team had to fight without you. But good ultimate. Just small thing, if you jump it in the air, you're harder to hit when you fly back down. That Widow could have actually ruined things there, but it was a good ult. And maybe there are two sides of you. One side saying, fly into them all, feed the mech. And the other side's like, no, I'm a good D.Va, I'm not going to do it. Because you flew for half a second and then canceled it. So I guess you're catching yourself, so that's good, but you end up having to back up and use all your matrix again. There's such a huge difference between having your matrix being here, shooting everyone besides ball that comes through, and then what you're doing, which is peeking on their side, losing all your matrix, and then letting them through. So it's only a few meters and some better resource management, but it is huge, I can tell you, between being a diamond D.Va and a platinum D.Va. And I guess because you lost your matrix and took some damage, you got scared. But now you are letting them through. Let's go to Widow. There was this annoying D.Va, but they're gone now, so it's a shooting gallery.
That's better.
And you do recognize, like, this Widow should not be shooting, and you go in, but no health. I'm guessing probably still low matrix because you've been using it like every 2 seconds. So you can't really, you should be stopping this Widow, but you don't have the health and resources to do it because you've been using it all. Good health back awareness. Alright, good job. Ball can die now, he's been cut off. Good. Another case of, this can be a kill, but your mechanics just have to be better. The mechanics aren't your main problem, though, but using your if you fly into someone, you should really have the mechanics to be confident you'll get the lift. Oh well, good, you're old. And I see the vision. Unfortunately, the aim was just a little off, but that was a better time. Let's go over that again, because when you do something right, I want to. Alright, you got full health, using the matrix a little heavy early on, but but you do see an opening. The Torbjorn's gone, so things have opened up. You can make a lot more dives now, so I like this. And when they have ball, this is usually what you can do. Their team, like, what's Mercy, Moira, Widow gonna do to you in close range? Really nothing. So even if it goes wrong, you're really safe here. So I like going aggressive. Maybe you were blending games together and not recognizing it wasn't okay because they had a Torb earlier.
Nothing gets past me.
And here, now that they're at long range, you have to think. First of all, it would be good to know where your team is, because they're not ready yet. So the answer probably is just to hide for 10 more seconds. But you can't make a direct dive as D.Va if you go for here, Soldier, and Uh, Moira will shoot you in the side if you just go straight for Soldier. The Widow, when Moira will shoot you in the back. So you have to take it slow and slowly take map control. And it's sort of a puzzle. This is a hard diva map, or hard diva point. Okay, good. Good, you're gonna hide and get healed. Took a little too much damage, you scared your BAP, but into using lamp. But I want you to just focus on getting full health, full matrix, and then go for it. Oh, well. Your teammate got picked and they used ults, so you can... if you still want to go for Widow, fine. But they used ults, so that's good. You can go back in now. And just I want you to think full health, full matrix, slowly take map control. That's good. Slow. That move up to the card's good. They got no choice but to back up. Doing your job. You really can't peel for the ball, but this is one of the few times where you should not be looking at the ball. You should be going up here. You can fly. It's the sort of the same scenario where if you think of them as a cobra, you can go towards the tail. If you fly here, the soldier can't see you. You can pressure the Widow, because a direct option would get you killed. So you have to sort of sweep around and then matrix them all in front of you. So I just want you to know that's it would be a good play here because it's such a hard diva point. Well, the ball kills a few people anyway, so didn't affect the fight. Everyone makes mistakes. But I want you to be looking for diva bombs now. They are out in the open. And it's because you should be on the Widow, but she's so far away. So I think you're just getting a little, I guess, confused here. But you have to push up one corner at a time. I recommend going what the Genji's doing to try and get closer. But right now, you should be slowly working your way up with your DPS. You shouldn't be the one in the back. Again, you've been doing good not focusing on the ball all game, but now because they're so far away, you're probably not confident going for them, so you're looking for an easier target. But the target should still be ultimately the Mercy or the Widow. And your Genji's waiting for an opening. If you were up there supplying the opening, your Genji would dash in. We're looking at a completely different game, so here you do start to actually make some wrong decisions, where before you were making the right decisions, just messing it up. And that's rough. He kind of has to do it himself. He got antsy. And again, you got to think, how do I deal with all these people over here? You can fly over here, get a shot on Mercy, block yourself from the soldier. You've got to take it in 2 steps. I understand you think they're too far away, but you've got to slowly close the distance. And even an early ult, because you're getting near last fight, just throwing a diva bomb up, going in the air, and then hiding here and remeching. So there are answers. There are no easy answers because of what point it is, and you're on diva. Well, the Widow is eventually going to make you guys pay, but even if you thinking counter swaps, so Winston can just jump right on her, and if everyone shoots you in the back, they're no longer shooting your mech in the back, they're shooting a bubble. So Sigma still would have been fine, Winston would be fine. If your diva can work, but hopefully some of the tips I'm giving will help you close long distances. And I guess we're just in panic mode to use that ult, but hopefully those tips help you. I think you can get to Diamond if you clean up the positioning on Diva, pressuring them without overheating and feeding. And then on Sigma, definitely better resource management, not using your grass so early and your shield until they cross onto your side of the corner. Same with Diva. you can make more plays. You get a safety net if you have your matrix up more often. So I really think if you clean those things up, Diamond, you really can be Diamond. But until then, probably Plat is where you'll stay. Uh, but because those you had so many things that could be cleaned up, that I'm glad you submitted the VOD review, and good luck.